On July 4, 1776, the Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence, proclaiming self-evident rights and formally severing ties with Britain. The Declaration's universal language inspired revolutionary movements across Europe and the Americas, providing a blueprint for subsequent quests for liberty. John Locke's 1689 two treatises articulated natural rights and consent of the governed, concepts that colonists adopted to justify independence. Montesquieu's 1748 Spirit of the Laws introduced separation of powers, a principle later embedded in the United States Constitution's three-branch system. Thomas Paine's pamphlet Common Sense, published early 1776, sold over 100,000 copies and rapidly swayed public opinion toward rebellion. The French and Indian War from 1754 to 1763 doubled Britain's national debt, prompting Parliament to seek new revenue through colonial taxation. The 1765 Stamp Act mandated revenue stamps on legal documents and newspapers, provoking colonial boycotts and the rallying cry, "No taxation without representation." Townshend Acts enacted in 1767 levied duties on tea, glass, and lead, leading merchants to adopt non-importation agreements as protest. The Coercive Acts of 1774, also called the Intolerable Acts, closed Boston Harbor and altered Massachusetts' charter, uniting colonies in opposition. Sons of Liberty organized the 1765 Stamp Act riots, employing the Liberty Tree as a rallying symbol to mobilize resistance. In September 1774, the First Continental Congress met in Philadelphia, drafting the Continental Association to enforce colonial-wide non-importation of British goods. By 1775, the 13 colonies' population had risen to roughly 4 million, creating a labor force and internal market that would later fuel industrialization. During the winter of 1777-78 at Valley Forge, Baron von Steuben introduced systematic drill routines, transforming the Continental Army into a disciplined fighting force. In 1778, Benjamin Franklin and French minister, the Comte de Vergennes, signed the Treaty of Alliance, committing French military support to the American cause. The 1781 Battle of the Chesapeake saw French Admiral de Grasse defeat the British fleet, preventing relief to Cornwallis and ensuring American victory at Yorktown. On October 19, still 1781, British General Cornwallis surrendered his army at Yorktown, Virginia, marking the decisive end of major Revolutionary War hostilities. The 1783 Treaty of Paris granted the United States independence, recognized its borders to the Mississippi River, and secured fishing rights off Newfoundland. Shays' Rebellion of 1786-87 exposed the Confederation's fiscal weakness, as indebted farmers protested state tax policies, prompting calls for a stronger central government. In 1787, delegates gathered at the Philadelphia Convention to draft a new constitution, establishing a federal system with legislative, executive, and judicial branches. By June 1788, 9 states ratified the Constitution, activating the new government and ending the era of the Articles of Confederation. In March 1789, the inaugural United States Congress convened at Federal Hall in New York, marking the operational start of the new constitutional government. On April 30th, 1789, George Washington took the presidential oath on the balcony of Federal Hall, inaugurating the executive branch before an applauding crowd. In September 1791, Thomas Jefferson drafted the 10 amendments that would become the Bill of Rights, protecting individual liberties against federal overreach. During the 1794 Whiskey Rebellion, Thomas Paine circulated pamphlets urging peaceful tax compliance, influencing public opinion amid the federal militia's march to Pennsylvania. The 1795 Jay Treaty, aimed at averting war with Britain, was debated by American legislators who referenced John Locke's principles of consent and commerce. In December 1796, John Adams was elected the second president, preparing to continue Federalist policies while navigating rising partisan tensions. The 1798 XYZ affair sparked outrage in the United States, prompting Federalists to strengthen naval forces while Montesquieu's separation of powers theory was cited in debates. The election of 1800, dubbed the Revolution of 1800, resulted in Thomas Jefferson's triumph, shifting power from Federalists to Democratic Republicans. In 1803, Jefferson negotiated the Louisiana Purchase with France, doubling the nation's territory and securing control of the Mississippi River corridor. President Jefferson commissioned Meriwether Lewis and William Clark in 1804 to explore the newly acquired western lands, mapping routes to the Pacific. The Embargo Act of 1807, enacted by Jefferson, prohibited international trade to pressure Britain and France, dramatically reducing American export revenues. In June 1812, the United States declared war on Britain, driven by maritime impressment grievances and frontier conflicts with Native American allies. British forces captured and burned Washington in August 1814, destroying the Capitol and White House, a symbolic low point for the young nation. The Battle of New Orleans in January 1815, fought after the peace treaty, gave General Andrew Jackson a decisive victory that boosted national pride. In 1816, New York began building the Erie Canal, a 363-mile waterway that would link the Atlantic to the Great Lakes and spur economic growth. The Missouri Compromise of 1820 admitted Missouri as a slave state and Maine as a free state, maintaining a delicate balance in the Senate. President James Monroe articulated the Monroe Doctrine in 1823, warning European powers against further colonization in the Western Hemisphere of the Americas. The Erie Canal opened in 1825, dramatically reducing transport costs and linking New York City to the Great Lakes, fueling westward migration. Andrew Jackson's 1828 election ushered in the era of Jacksonian democracy, emphasizing the common man and expanding suffrage to all white male citizens. In 1830, President Andrew Jackson signed the Indian Removal Act, authorizing forced relocation of Eastern tribes, leading to the tragic Trail of Tears.